Okay.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. Happy Thursday. All right, so let's kick things off with a question. Have you ever wondered what makes a private practice really thrive? Not just survive, but actually thrive. Well, today I'm very excited. We're going to pull back the curtain on the mindsets that truly drive long-term success in private practice. Hi, everyone, and welcome. Lesli Vitel here, business strategist and mentor for integrative and functional medicine and nutrition practitioners as well as coaches. And in this episode of Live with Lesli, I'm so excited to be joined by Ashley Oswald. She's the founder of Oswald Digestive Clinic, and it is one of the most respected gut health practices in the country right now. And her team has become the go-to referral for dietitians too across the US because they're known for the incredible results with gut issues and their hybrid insurance model that makes care accessible and sustainable. So, we're going to be really digging into that model today. Ashley's been in private practice for over 10 years, and today she is sharing the three most important mindsets that have shaped her success, along with what she wishes every practitioner out there knew before starting or scaling their own business. So, whether you're brand new to private practice or ready to take your next big leap, this conversation I think will really inspire you to think bigger, lead smarter, and build your business with purpose. So let's go ahead and dive in. Ashley, I'm so excited to have you here with me today. Welcome.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Leslie. Hi, everybody.
I love it. So, I think a good place for us to start is with you giving us just a little bit of history. So, I understand you've been in practice for probably over 10 years now. And give us some background and maybe an overview of what you're doing with the Oswald Digestive Clinic, just a little bit of the history.
Sure. I founded the clinic in 2016. I did not set out to have a private practice, but I've been a dietitian for 15 years. I was living in California. I was doing parental nutrition and also worked at a functional medicine practice out there with a couple MDs. And then moved back to Minneapolis, and I basically just couldn't find a job that I wanted after working in this really incredible clinic out in California. So I started seeing clients on the side, and one thing just led to another, and here we are 10 years later with this clinic that I had niched down into for gut health. And it's very exciting now because, of course, it's becoming more and more aware in the public the importance of gut health. And it's one of the biggest issues people can have that really affect their life. So we get to see some incredible transformations.
I love that. So it's my understanding that this is a true hybrid practice. And what we mean by hybrid is it's a mix of cash pay and insurance. Can you tell us a little bit what that breakdown looks like and why you
Yeah.
chose to go this route?
Right. Well, it started out as cash pay because I was specialized in gut health already, and I didn't have problem finding clients who wanted to pay cash and make it simple and easy on me
Mhm.
because everybody that knows insurance knows that it can be really overwhelming. So it
Yeah.
was just too much for me to think about when I was still working at a really great hospital in Minneapolis and starting the private practice on the side and doing contract work because I needed to make enough money to get by in my mid 20s. And so I started out doing that. A doctor recommended to me to just do home visits for the first appointment and then just do follow ups on video on a HIPAA secure video. So I did that back in 2016. And I eventually got busier as the years went on. I hired our first clinician in 2019. And then during COVID, we all know that telemedicine became more covered by insurance plans. And so at that point, I hired Amy Plano to teach me how to take insurance. And, I'd be lying if I didn't say that there's a lot of tears and headaches and frustrations. And it wasn't easy, but once you get over that learning curve, it's so worth it, I would say, if you want to grow a bigger practice beyond just you. But I will also say if it's just you and private practice and you have a niche, you can still get by doing cash pay. People are willing to pay to get rid of problems in their life.
Okay, I love that. So is the split about 30% cash at this point?
At this point, yeah.
Okay. And how did you choose which insurance companies to contract with?
Good question. I had an awesome friend who was taking insurance in the area already, and she
Okay.
really was very transparent with me about which ones are easier to work with, which ones are paying fairly. And so I started with those options. And
Okay.
then also, since we're specialized in gut health, Medicare doesn't cover a lot of our clients unless they have type 2 diabetes, chronic kidney disease. So we were able to be guided a little bit that way.
Okay. So you were really proactive and did a little research instead of just saying, I'm gonna take any insurance that'll contract with me.
Yeah, and there's just on this journey looking back, there's certain synchronicities and things that line up. And I think it speaks to the importance of having a network in this space as well, that you can share what you know, they share what they know, and we can really support ourselves in a private practice. Because Leslie and I, before this call, were just talking about there's so many people out there looking for this kind of work and help. And they're just going through the motion of the healthcare system that they're used to. And we know not a lot of doctors refer to dietitians in
Mhm.
many settings. So, how can we get out there and share what we can help with and the problems we can solve? Because if we do that successfully as a profession, there's just so many clients, so many potential clients. So being proactive and supporting each other, and then the breadcrumb component is just you're not going to know everything when you start in business and private practice. And I think that's why a lot of dietitians don't start because it's very intimidating. And it's almost
Oh,
like as you learn more, it's almost scarier to get started because then you don't it's very intimidating. And so luckily for me, I didn't know a lot. I just got it started and I learned as I went and then I started implementing things and I'm really glad in hindsight I didn't realize
you
all
didn't
the
know what you
components
didn't
to
know,
business.
right?
You don't know what you don't know, but you figure it out. So just have confidence in yourself to figure it out.
What are some of the hurdles that would prevent someone from, pulling the trigger and saying, I'm doing this from your perspective and your experience?
I think perfectionism can be a huge thing,
Okay.
right? Fear that they might do something wrong or that they need
Okay.
to learn more to be
Oh,
able
not knowing
to.
enough.
Yes, yes, but there's a few tricks for that, but one is if you niche, it becomes a lot easier because you can become an
Mm.
expert in your niche and really make a big difference in people's lives. And just getting used to knowing that you're going to learn through practice. And that's part of the enjoyment actually of the journey of business is getting better as you go.
Okay, so let's talk about niching because like we've all heard of it. We all know we should niche down, but it feels counterintuitive. It feels like you're going to limit who comes to see you. Does it not? What are your comments on that?
Yeah,
And how
that's
can
what I
we
thought too.
overcome that fear of I guess it would be a scarcity mindset.
Right, right. And I was very resistant. I was going to this regular networking group when I started in the business because Leslie and I were also talking about, marketing, getting clients. And I started out just in person, word of mouth. I didn't have social media. And so this woman I knew from these networking groups that I built this connection with, she owned a marketing business. And she would just tell me, like, time and time to consider niching. And she was at one point very stern with me. I was like, okay, you know what? Like, this woman, she's been doing this for a long time. She is a marketing expert. So I really need to take this advice seriously because I'm struggling, to effectively share, what I can help with. It was taking, longer to share everything you can help with as a dietitian versus now I just share, an expert in gut health, 7 years of schooling in nutrition science, and our clients get rid of symptoms such as XYZ. So much easier, and people get really excited. So I was intimidated because I don't want to limit myself and the types of
Yeah.
clients that I saw. But you know what? As you get better at doing certain things, we tend to enjoy doing those things more as well. So I also, the opposite happened where, yes, we started to only get gut health clients mostly, but I started to enjoy it so much because I got really good at it. And then I could solve these problems that all their doctors weren't able to solve. Then all of a sudden we figured something out that they're using to get better, which is
Oh,
super
so good.
rewarding.
So, even though it's scary, is it not true? It's a rhetorical question. That, generally speaking, they want to work with an expert. I would say, especially in the field of health, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't really seek out someone that is kind of the jack of all trades. They really do want a health expert. Thus, you choosing digestive disorders as your niche really does make a lot of sense.
Right, right. And to all the dietitians listening, I promise it's going to make your life so much easier too. And it's going to make going into private practice less intimidating.
Yeah, and I can speak to that as well. When I first started my practice, um, I wanted to help everybody, just like we all do. Like, oh my gosh, everybody. I want to help everyone. And that is a noble cause, but it's really not great for marketing because you don't become memorable for any particular area. And I do also remember, like, okay, when it comes to creating content, whether that be a blog or, social media, anything like that, with not having a niche, like, where do you even start?
Right,
I
right.
remember going,
And
I don't even know, how can I even do a talk? Because, like, there's a million gazillion things I could speak on. It was just so hard to focus. And once I finally, and believe me, I fought it. I went kicking and screaming. Like, I was kind of the worst when it came to that. But once I finally did, it things just got so much more clear. And one of the I ended up moving into helping people with neurological disorders, right? So like
oh,
Parkinson's, MS, chronic migraine, that kind of thing. And I feel like with functional nutrition. So I feel like I really kind of hit my stride with that. And so it just was so helpful because it gave me direction and focus rather than like, trying to do everything for everyone. And I also
yeah.
remember, and you can probably relate to this, is you just can't keep up on everything. Like you cannot be
No.
really good at everything. So having
Yeah.
this focus was it gave me permission to say, okay, I don't need to know that right now. I'm gonna put that on the back burner and I'm really gonna focus on this thing over here. Right.
Yeah,
So it just is helpful
completely.
in so many ways. All right, so you've got cash pay, which I love. Um how are your services set up? Can you comment on like what your services are in the clinic? What does that look like? I know you're really honing in on one-on-one right now. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like.
Right. So over the 10 years, we did try different things, and we do have a contract where we have options such as cooking school that we continue every single week over there. But just under the clinic umbrella, if people were to find us directly, like from YouTube, our main offer is one-on-one. And I did create a course in 2020 or 2021 that is like a foundation for gut health. But as a lot of, dietitians know, it's really difficult to actually create courses in some of this information. So I did the best I could. But at the end of the day, it's actually better for most people struggling with health issues to just see us one on one. And that's part of why we started taking insurance too, because it saves them time and also, two people could be having super similar symptoms, but the root cause is going to be different. So, them
Interesting.
trying to figure it out through the course, right? We can get them to a certain spot, like teaching how to eat, real whole foods
Mhm.
and XYZ, some of the basics. But for this reason, I actually just this week feeling like we should retire the course or just set it to the side. And
Uh-huh.
it's been very helpful when I get hired to do presentations and things of that sort to have this structure that I created through the course. But I do
Mhm.
want to really focus on YouTube and focus on funneling people into our one on one program because I also want to be able to hire more functional nutrition dietitians and gut health and
Okay.
create more like job opportunities in our profession as well.
I love that. So that's how you have leveraged, i.e. cloned yourself, right? Is, by hiring other practitioners into the
Yeah.
mix, which I love.
Yeah.
So, yeah, tell us a little bit about that model and how, like, how did you hire your first person and what does that look like? And I don't know, just whatever background you can share on that.
Right. Because it also goes back to it's difficult to be really great at everything. So as I
Mhm.
started exploring new arenas, such as now I've been really focused on how to revamp our YouTube channel to make it
Mm,
more effective. We get 1,200,000 views a year, but
yeah.
we don't have a solid following there. So I'm really focused on everything. And it seems simple, just YouTube, but there's so much that goes under it. How to tell a great story, how to write good scripts, how to get the video optimized, the audio optimized, and I'm also getting into filmmaking too. Films
Mm,
about ancient holistic healing modalities. So my passion has turned that way. And so I knew, I need to hire out these other parts of the business where they can maintain doing an excellent job because mostly what they do in the clinic is do one-on-one client care. So they're becoming much better than I am even because I haven't
mm.
taken clients for a couple years now, but I'm becoming better at these other parts. So the very first clinician I hired, I believe it was 2019, and it was a friend of a friend who had worked with her at a different clinic in the area, and she was known at that clinic as a gut health expert. And so
Mhm.
I actually didn't do much extensive interviewing. I just kind of asked some people that knew her to make sure that she really was, the knowledge was there, and we met in
Okay.
person and we got along. And so I was just so swamped at that time that I was like, okay, you're hired. Help me. And it worked out really well, really great. And so I guess my tip for hiring would be to make sure to ask people that have worked for that person because it's really hard to get to know just through a couple interviews how good of a fit they will be. But somebody that has worked with them for years can really give more insights.
Okay. I love that. Um, so you mentioned YouTube a couple times so far in our conversation, which really has evoked my curiosity. So tell me a little bit about how you're leveraging YouTube's platform to attract the right clients into the business.
Right. And this actually goes back to what we were talking about earlier, too, where these algorithms are getting a lot better at connecting what people are looking to and pulling the right content. So,
Hmm.
niching, like we were mentioning, can be so helpful on social media for this reason. So, then the algorithm really knows what to pull and can pull your content more easily versus you having too many themes and it gets confused.
Hmm.
And so at YouTube, I just met with some really like top experts a week ago, and for 2 hours
Okay.
they drilled me on our channel. It was like at one point I'm like, "Am I going to cry or can I stay strong?"
Ah,
But it was excellent. It was excellent because I've been telling people the bad news is we're doing a lot wrong, but the good news is we're doing a lot wrong, right? And
yes,
now like
there's one way to go up, right?
yeah, yeah, and now having clarity, it's so great. And we were just talking too about the importance of hiring experts that have done things that we are looking to do, like why I hired
Yes.
Amy Plano, why people hire you for business support,
Yes.
instead of just like outsourcing to some of these other third-party companies and being a
Mm.
contractor. Like, no, you can do it yourself, and you can actually save time because you're going to earn a lot more money per hour having your own private practice. And I promise once you learn
Mm.
how to do it, like it'll be just it's not hard. You just have to go through the learning curve. So
Okay.
yeah, for YouTube, it's the same thing. And I just feel really inspired by the platform because it has billions of users every single
Yeah.
week. I would have to look up the exact number. So
Yes, it's
just a
huge.
really high potential for people easily finding us once we
Mhm.
can really like um get it running strong.
Yeah, yeah, I am such a fan. It's a conversation I have with my clients on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, if I were to pick between YouTube or Instagram, it's a no-brainer. I would hands down YouTube any day, all day, every day.
And what
Um,
is it for you?
I would well, I'm on all the platforms, but I now personally am placing way more emphasis on YouTube. And the reason is because it's a search engine, right? So Google owns YouTube, it's a search engine. And I
Wonderful.
just think the potential is really significant. And it's
Yes.
video, and people love video.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's such a great way to establish that know, like, and trust with your audience, and
Yes.
also to move them to the next thing, right?
Yes.
So I just think it's a really great platform, and frankly, I highly recommend it.
Yeah,
As a mechanism, as one of the core strategies in your business to attract the right clients.
right, right. And that's been my biggest struggle over the 10 years of marketing. Because I want to grow the clinic more. I'm like, okay, I really need to get this honed down. Like we do get
Yeah.
referrals, we get great word of mouth, but how can we really scale that? And I went to the YouTube conference Vid Summit 2 months ago, and it was just so inspiring. And
Mm,
the coolest thing about it is that I did not feel competition. And you'd think,
that's
like,
awesome.
oh, it's social media, like people get a little competitive, but this YouTube community, people realize no, there's like so much room for everybody. And if you make
Mhm.
good content, it's just like you're not competing with anybody. It's just yourself to get good content that people want to watch.
Agreed. Yeah, and I will just say that, it seems like once you kinda get hooked on YouTube, there's no going back. Like, I'm a like, viewer as well,
Me too,
which
yeah.
is kind of funny. Like, it's on the big screen TV. It's just yeah, which I never was that person, but, like, I don't know, a few years ago, I I watch YouTube. I don't even remember why or what made me do it, but I kind of got hooked. And so now it really is, it's a form of entertainment, but it's also I do seek out educational content on a very regular basis. So I do feel like it's a really great platform. It's growing, and everyone has a chance, you know,
Right,
versus some of the other platforms, not so much because they're just so saturated and just really hard to get any significant traction. So,
right.
what are your thoughts on, some of the, shall we say, third party companies that are just becoming so popular whereby, they're hiring, for example, dietitians as contractors. I just wondered if you have some opinions around this trend that we're seeing.
Yeah, I see a lot of posts about this and a lot of conversation. And from my eyes, without knowing really the ins and outs, but just seeing what people are sharing for the payment structures,
Yeah.
I just really want people to realize, like, yes, it looks really intimidating to do this yourself. And it seems like, oh, I'm just going to outsource them doing the insurance XYZ.
Mhm.
But if you can get through that learning curve, it's gonna help you so much if you just do it yourself, and you're gonna make so much more. It's gonna save you time because 'cause you're not gonna have to work so much to make the same amount of income.
Mhm.
And so I would just, if people feel like, oh, I'm going to have my own business, but work for those companies, you don't necessarily really have your own business. You're kind of just a
Yeah.
contractor for another company. And it's just another step. Then you can fully be on your own, pricing your products yourself, niche down. People will cash pay if you're really quality, especially in functional
Absolutely.
medicine for a niche. People are willing to cash pay to get help.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So it is a really interesting trend. I certainly noticed it at Fancy when I went. It was like, whoa, this is huge. I didn't realize just how huge it is becoming. And I would agree, like I don't know exactly what the percent is of the split, but suffice it to say it's pretty significant, right? So you're gonna really end up having to work a lot more hours to put a dent into your financial requirements. Yeah, and I would just encourage, just like what Ashley was saying, I would encourage it's I mean, there are some things that might be scary and perhaps intimidating about starting your own practice, but it's just so rewarding to have your own thing, right? Where you call the shots, you get to pick and choose, you get to pick your specialty, you get to, decide, do you want partial, like a hybrid, like what Ashley has, partially cash pay, and then maybe picking the cream of the crop in terms of insurance plans that you want to contract with, right?
Right,
Maybe
right.
offering, I mean, I'm a huge fan of with, especially, well, actually with cash and insurance, and I offering programs, right, that are designed to take a client from where they are now, which is struggling, to that desired transformation over an elongated period of time. And I acknowledge that, of course, with an insurance pay, you can't bill up front. I got that. But nonetheless, having a mechanism in place in the business where people are actually agreeing to working with you over an elongated period of time in like a program format, they're committing up front, I think is so helpful because you're going to attract people who want those results. They're there because they want the results. You're going to get, I think, in many cases, like really motivated, awesome clients who are going to stick with you, who aren't going to quit when things get a little bumpy, which is what happens quite often otherwise. It's like, oh, I'm not going to come in. I'm embarrassed. I didn't they're going to stick with the process. So you get that added benefit of seeing the patient or client through to the transformation, which is wonderful. And just overall, your results, I think, are greatly enhanced in that model. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I agree. And we do that in the sense of packages. So people can pay appointment to appointment, but they can
Uh-huh.
buy a 3-pack and get a discount, and then a 6-pack and get an even bigger discount. So
Great.
we did do bigger package in the past where people
Hmm.
were buying it, but since taking insurance, we really worked to simplify some of that. So now we
Yes,
just have 3 cash pay options. But
and that makes sense.
yeah, I completely agree. And I'm curious what you think is the reason a lot of people are starting to just switch to these more third-party companies. What is the draw
Uh,
for most
I
dietitians?
don't know. I think their marketing is really compelling.
Yeah,
I think they're really good at marketing and making you think that it's just going to be easy street if you sign up with them. But you do want to look at the fine print. Definitely look at the fine print, okay? And really take a look at, what is the cut that you are going to take home. I will say in the insurance model, mm, it can be good, but let's just say it's not huge, right? As is. So if you're splitting that, oh,
right.
there's not a lot left over, I would venture to say. So, yeah, and essentially you're an employee, right? Like you're a contractor. So, I would really look at the fine print, and frankly, if you want a private practice, I would just encourage you to get the support you need to make it happen on your own, right?
Yeah, I
I would,
completely agree.
I've not worked with any of these companies directly. It's just kind of, I will admit it's hearsay, right? I'm sure you hear a lot of things too. But that being said, I would want to be the driver of my own destiny. instead of putting it in the hands of a third party, in all honesty.
Right, or use it as a stepping stone. People can use it as a stepping stone and then can hire someone to help them, or it
Yeah.
could just be so simple to start, like how I started the clinic. I never envisioned it to be actually a big clinic. I just started seeing clients on the side. I was locking up, written notes just in a safe,
Uh-huh.
meeting clients out networking at these just business networking groups, and you can just go from there.
Yeah, I love that. So, yeah, I think I would just add, and I know, Ashley, you agree with this, get the support you need to be successful. I still do it. And Ashley and I were just having this conversation before we hit the record button. Um, like I can speak to this in my business. There are things that I hire mentorship to help me accomplish. And in my case, in all honesty, it's not because I don't know how to do it. It's because I need that accountability to make sure that I do it so that I don't get pulled in 25 other directions. And then another year goes by and I'm like, oh my God, where did the year go? I didn't do this thing that I wanted to do. And I can speak to that. I just hired some people to help me accomplish some things in my business for that exact purpose, right? Years ago, I was trying to get some of these things done, and I did have a team working with me, and I'm like, I'm gonna get rid of them. I'm gonna save some money here because I know I can do this myself. Well, guess what? That was like 3 years ago. And have I moved forward? No. So finally, I woke up one day. I'm like, okay, hello. If I want to get this thing done, clearly there's an impediment here. And I think it's called time and it's also called accountability. So even though I think I know how to do it, I'm still going to invest because I want it done. I want it done. So I would just encourage
Yeah.
everybody to, don't reinvent the wheel, just like with your own clients. Your own clients, can they get the information online? In a lot of cases, they can. What you are selling is not information, it's the doing, it's the hand-holding and the support in order
Yeah.
to bring it home and make it happen.
And often it's more enjoyable that way as well. And then to piggyback on that, two things happened for me this week where I realized the same thing in different ways. And one was with these YouTubers going through my channel. And I
Yeah.
realized, sometimes we don't want to hear certain things. So I'm not going to give myself the same feedback on my channel, even if it's so obvious to me something that we need to do, if it's something I don't necessarily want to do. Right. But then having three other
Yeah.
people telling me, no, you absolutely have to do that, it's like, okay, you're right. It's like niching. And then the other thing is, I just started this week some vocal training with Roger Love's group, who's one of the best. He works with a lot of celebrities and things.
Uh-huh.
And he said in a group call something that was really interesting about how I'm your hearing aid. So it's like you don't hear
Oh,
yourself the way others hear you. And so if you're going to do video, I'm here to let you know, how others are hearing you and what you could adjust to be more effective.
oh, fascinating.
And same thing with experts, like you have your MBA, right, Leslie? So you can take a
I
look at
do.
a business and probably can just spot really easily what
Yeah.
people are, what's not working well because you have so much experience and you've done it for so long, where somebody who's new, we don't have the same eyes on it.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, we all have our blind spots.
Yeah.
So, I love it. Any final words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our audience as we start to wrap up, Ashley?
Ooh, time flies. I would say just take it, follow the breadcrumbs, ask yourself, do I really want to have a private practice? Is that my goal? And if that's your goal, don't be intimidated. And I would really encourage you to maybe use some of these contracts as stepping stones.
Mhm.
But keep stepping, because there's a lot more rewards to doing it direct with clients and not having a middleman.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, that was great. Such an inspiring and frankly practical conversation. So I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to Ashley Oswald for joining me today. and sharing her wisdom from over a decade in private practice. And if you'd like to learn more about Ashley and her amazing team, make sure you visit oswalddigestiveclinic.com and check out their reviews, and also check out her YouTube channel. Really
Should be
impressive
changing
stuff.
in 2 months.
Yeah. Okay. So, but it is Oswald Digestive Clinic. That's the name of the YouTube channel, right?
Exactly, exactly. If you have clients that you're struggling with gut health, you can refer to us if you just need more
Oh,
expert eyes on
fabulous.
it. So
Okay.
thank
That
you
is
so much for
awesome.
having me.
My pleasure. It was so great to reconnect with you, Ashley. Thank you for everyone for joining us. And just a reminder, if this episode gave you some ideas or motivation for your own practice, make sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel at Leslie Vitel International. And also, if you would be so kind, hit that subscribe and notification bell. That would be amazing because I would love to have you back. So thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep up the good work, everybody. And I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now. All right. Let's see. Um, there we go.